Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a first trimester pregnancy update. I know a lot of you guys have been having a lot of questions because I do get them on a regular basis. Emails, DMs, tweets. You know, this pregnancy has been a huge part of my life and you guys are a huge part of my life, and I didn't really realize how many expecting mommies and how many moms actually follow me on here. So I did want to go ahead and let you guys know how I've been and how my journey has been for this past, these past couple of months. But excuse me if I'm out of breath because now it's so much harder for me to even talk for a long period of time without me having to catch my breath. That is one of the precious glories of being pregnant, that you can't breathe. So I do have a list of questions that you guys have asked me, as well as a little story for you guys. I hope this video is not like crazy long because I am going to be talking to you guys for a long period of time. But okay, so like most of you guys know, I am 20 weeks and 5 days right now. I am halfway through my pregnancy, and which is crazy because I know that my life is going to change and it's going to be probably that much harder once the baby does come. But I'm just anxious and I am just ready for the baby to be here. It has definitely been an exciting journey. And I know on my vlogs, I show you guys reality. I show you guys my life. I show you guys how I'm feeling on a daily basis, and I'm showing you guys the real parts of pregnancy. I feel like, speaking for myself, before I got pregnant, I was that person that was just very like, oh my god, you're pregnant, that's so cute, oh my goodness, like very naive about how a baby is made in general, unless you experience it for yourself. You know, and everybody's pregnancy is different. There's people who have like amazing pregnancies and they don't even feel like they're pregnant. And then there's people who their whole pregnancy was like this complete, drag of like not even being able to get up, not having any appetite, throwing up every day. So everybody's pregnancy is different. For me, it's kind of been in the middle. I have my days, my good days, I have my bad days, but I was very naive about situations like that, and that's why I want to share with you guys everything that does happen in pregnancy, because it's a real thing. It's a real deal, and it's a lot of work. I don't think people realize how much it is to make a baby. Because I was never pregnant before, I really didn't know all the struggles, everything your body goes through, not even on the outside, stretching out and getting big, but on the inside, you can't breathe, you can't sleep, there's just so much that goes on behind the pregnancy that people don't talk about. And that's why I wanted to come on here and do this video for you guys, to show you guys a little bit of what I've been going through in my pregnancy, because it hasn't always, been easy. But enough rambling. I'll get into the questions first, and then I'll get into my stories after. But the most asked questions, so basically these are just questions that I got on my Instagram and Twitter, as well as DMs that I've gotten from girls that I want to be able to address on here. So one of the questions is if I want any more kids, and everybody has been asking me that, even family and friends. At my gender reveal, they were like, so how many kids do you want? I'm like, let me pop this one out first, and then we'll talk about me having any future kids. I'm naturally just a big ass baby, and I'm super hypochondriac. So everything that I feel, I'm like, oh my god, is this normal? Oh my god, is this okay? Oh my god. But it makes me feel so much better because I downloaded this app. It's called What to Expect. And there's a community center thing where everybody does questions, and then they'll be like, oh, I'm on 20 weeks, I'm on 16 weeks. It's all the July babies that are about to be born. And moms, they go on there and address their issues. So it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one sitting here panicking every 5 minutes over what's going on with my body. But as of right now, this pregnancy was a little unexpected. We did plan on having kids until 3-4 years from now. So this one in general was super unexpected, but as of right now, I really don't think about any other kids. I'm just like, let me worry about one right now, and then we'll talk about future children. I told Elisa, I was like, would you be okay with just like one baby? Just because I've been so scared, guys. Like these past couple of months have been very stressful for me. I've been definitely, I don't know, just very stressed out, but I'll go into detail with everything later on in the video. So as far as any more kids, right now we're just focusing on one and making sure that everything's okay with this one, and that's it. Before, when people would ask me, I would say that I wanted 3 kids, well 2, and if they were the same sex I would go for number 3. Right now we're just on 1, and that's it. Okay, so the next question is baby names. We have talked about baby names. You guys already know that my top 2 names for boys were Sebastian and Maximiliano. Sebastian, Maximilian. And those were just my 2 top names. Ulises and I have talked about other names, other options, just kind of like splurring out. We haven't decided on one, and that's why I'm not going to tell you guys like my baby boy's name. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, I'm having a boy. I just found out on Sunday, so in case you guys are new here, I am having a little boy, and we have not picked out that one name yet. But when we do decide on the actual name, you guys for sure will be the first to know what we decide on. But right now, that's all we have. I'll probably do that video, that there's this tag going around where you make a video about names you like but you're not naming your baby, something like that. So I'll probably do a video like that, just to give ideas to anybody else that's like pregos and looking for a cute baby name. My due date. So my due date is July 19th, but my baby has been measuring a week early. A week early since we went to our first ultrasound. So based on when I conceived, like the last day of my period, it shows July 19th, which is what I've been tracking, but my doctor has me a week ahead. So on my app, it says that I'm 19 weeks, 6 days, something like that. But on my doctor, it shows that I'm already like 21 weeks, so and so days. So based on like how the baby's been measuring, that's kind of what's been on my track. But I'm basing it off of like my period, not how fast the baby's growing, if that makes sense. I still don't get any of this shit to like measure like how big your baby, I mean, I still don't know all this shit about like how many weeks you are and into months, and it's all confusing to me, honestly. I still don't know. A lot of you guys have also been asking if I will be doing natural birth or, you know, getting epidural. And I think what you guys mean is if I'm actually just gonna pop the baby out with no medicine, I'm guessing. I know you guys aren't thinking that I'm gonna be like in a bathtub or something, because that would be really scary for me. Props to whoever does do pregnancies like that, if people even do them anymore. But I mean, pregnancies, labors. But in my family, you guys already know, Mexicans, they're like, don't get any medicina, don't get any epidural. If I could pop, my mom's like, if I could pop out 5 kids, you can do it. You know, our bodies, like my mom gave me this whole freaking spiel about how our bodies are meant to give birth and we can take the pain. And, you know, when complications happen in birth, when people, you know, God forbid, when people pass, stuff like that because of complications, it has nothing to do with you being in pain. So that's what she's telling me. She's like, nobody dies of pain. You know, if it's complications, that's something else. But she's like, you're gonna be fine. She's like, it's literally a couple of, you know, minutes of pushing in pain. So she's given me the talk for sure. My sisters and sister-in-laws and all the women in my life, you know, they've all given natural birth without epidurals. So there's a little bit of pressure on me for sure. There's a little bit of pressure on me because, you know, I hear like the pros and the cons. A lot of people always say that the epidural, you get like really bad back aches and that it messes you up, that in the cold, like I don't know if it's a Mexican thing, but they always say that the epidural is not good. But then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, if so many people have had it, you know, it must be safe, you know, because I know that when you get a C-section, you have to get an epidural, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, I do want to feel like, wow, like I did that. Like I did it without medicine. But then again, like a lot of, like, I've talked to like my midwife, and she tells me, you know, everybody believes their beliefs, but she kind of pep talked me with the epidural, and she was like, don't make it seem like it's a weak thing, like, oh, you're a weak woman because you got the epidural. A lot of women want to enjoy their birth and actually, you know, see the baby coming out and not be in this excruciating pain, you know. So it just depends how you feel about it. But I have not made that decision yet, and I don't think I'm gonna make a decision. I think it's gonna just be based off of how I feel that day when I do go into birth. If I feel like I cannot take the pain, then, you know, I might get an epidural. If I feel like I can do this, Blanca, you got this, then I will not be getting an epidural. But I have not even like put too much thought into it. I'm just basing it off of how everything goes that day. So a lot of, and then another question is my niece moving out? So most of you guys know my niece Yvette lives with me, and that has been like the number one question. Is she moving out, kicking rocks because the baby's here? So like you guys know, I hired my niece to be here with me on a daily basis as my assistant, just because with work and all the projects that I have going on, she's like my right hand man and handling all my business stuff, all the processing, all the stuff that I can barely get to, she handles. So I felt like it was the most convenient for her to be at home with me every day and taking care of all the business stuff. And on top of that, she's a huge help here in my house in general. But no, I do not have any plans of her moving out. I know people feel their own personal opinions about how they feel about people moving in with them or other people living around them. And I just think it's crazy that you guys assume that it's affecting my relationship, and I would never put my relationship at risk over me trying to be selfish to have somebody live with me. If it was a problem for Ulises, my niece would have never moved in. Ulises is never really here, and me and him we do have our time together. You know, we're used to being around a lot of people all the time, and coming from a big traditional Mexican family, you know, we've lived with people all our lives, you know, so she is not in any way intruding my relationship or anything like that. So wanted to address that first, since a lot of you guys do always question that and think that my husband is somehow unhappy because my niece is like smothering us, when my niece, she's in her own world half of the time and doesn't even acknowledge me and Ulises. Like Ulises and I have our movie nights together by ourselves where we spend a lot of time together. My niece is in no way, shape, or form a problem. And that was a decision that me and my husband decided to make together, not involving any of your guys' opinions, because I feel like you guys always think you guys know what's right and what's wrong, and it's not like that. And as far as now with the baby coming, I feel like I'm very fortunate that I have her here, because, you know, on top of that, now she can help me, not just as an assistant, because she's not a stranger, she's my niece, but she's such an amazing person when it comes to babies. And she loves, like, she's so good with kids, guys. Like, she is absolutely amazing with children. Like, one day when she has her own children, she's gonna be a great mother. And she's so excited that the baby's on the way. And I'm just thinking of the fact that it's gonna be good for me to have her here, because if I have to work, if I have to do something, I can count on her to be able to help me with the baby, with anything. And on top of that, you guys know my mom's my neighbor. My mom literally, well, not like next door neighbor, but my mom lives 5 houses down from me. So does my sister. I'm very lucky, very lucky to have so many people around me to help, because I know that there's so many people out there that have to do it on their own, and I couldn't even imagine putting myself in the situation. And props to you guys that have done that without any help. But I'm gonna take advantage of like all the help that I have with my family, with my friends, with the people around me, because why not? You know, like they're here and they're doing it out of their own goodwill in their own heart. Like they're doing it because they care. So my niece is, I always make fun of her. I'm like, you're gonna be Nana Yvette. I'm like, you're gonna realize how much you know, this baby's gonna love you, because it's different. It's different when you like see a cousin or a niece or a nephew like every so often, but when you live with them, it's different. That's kind of how I feel about my little niece Jaylene. Like I love all of my nieces and nephews, but you know, Jaylene, I always tell her like she has something really special in my heart, because I practically, you know, I would change her diaper. She would sleep with me at 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Like I would take her to my room with me to cuddle with me and sleep with me, and I saw her grow up. She's like mine. I always tell her like, you're my baby. So I tell Yvette like, you're gonna feel that with my baby, because you're gonna be here every day with us. Like this is gonna be like your little practice baby. But no, she's not gonna be going anywhere, and I would be crazy to even let her leave right now when I probably need her the most. And she has been such an amazing help right now with my pregnancy. Like I seriously don't know what I would do without her. So yeah, she's sticking around for sure. And then our plan, you know, our plan for the future, for, well, not even so much like future, but like our plan for you know, a year from now or so, I've been working hard, freaking saving my money. I've been trying to like not spend my money on stupid shit and just like saving, because my goal is that we're going to finally build our house. And you guys know that that's a goal that I've been working towards for a really long time, probably. So I mean, I've been dreaming about it since I was a little girl, and to finally feel like I can make it happen, it feels surreal. But my goal is to build my house. We're gonna buy some land and build our homes. I'm not gonna tell you guys too much, but there's gonna be 2 homes in the acres that we decide to buy. And you know, even then I still plan, if Yvette's not married, or which I doubt, if Yvette's not married or is still working with me, or doing her YouTube stuff. If you guys don't know, she started her YouTube channel. I would be more than happy then to, you know, build her room next door to us, or even behind our house or whatever, just to have her there, because, you know, I love keeping my family close. And ever since we were young, I can sit here and ramble about stories and stories and stories, but we've always lived very close to our families. And I don't see it as a bad thing. People can sit here and think it's an emotional attachment, like, why are you guys so close? But I appreciate every single person in my family, and I'm glad that if I could live in a block with all of my brothers and sisters, best believe we would do that. But yeah, we're all really close, and we like to definitely be around each other. Okay, so now into the pregnancy stuff, back into like what I've been feeling. So my symptoms. So one of the questions was, what's the best thing about being pregnant and what's the worst thing about being pregnant? The best thing about being pregnant, I think, is just knowing that you're creating life. Like, it's so crazy, because I've always appreciated, you know, the women around me and how they are as women. And I feel like we go through, us as women, okay, just in general, we go through a lot in life. We go through a lot of our periods and, you know, like giving birth and all this stuff. Like it's hard, you know. But I feel like it's so surreal. Like, I feel like Ulises should be so jealous of me holding this baby inside, because if he was to feel, you know, like the baby's kicking and the baby's moving and the baby's just like all over the place right now, that it's such a beautiful feeling, you know. And it's still surreal to me. I think I'm still in denial. Like, I tell my niece, sometimes I feel like I'm pregnant and sometimes I don't. I'm like, it's not gonna be until I give birth that I'm like, wow, there was really a little person inside of me. But it's crazy. I think that's the best part, just knowing that, you know, I'm doing this and my body is creating this person, and I'm so appreciative of it and so grateful of it, because I have so many people around me, even in my inner circle, who have struggled to get pregnant and who don't have that honor. I don't even know how to even say it, but that they can't experience something like this. And it definitely makes me feel very special. And I think that's like the main thing about being pregnant that just kind of like hits my heart, that I'm trying to cherish and appreciate every single moment that I have. And that's why whenever I see like women who are over there like smoking and drinking and all that stuff, like while they're pregnant, like with their bellies and stuff, I'm like, do you know how hard, like, or you know how bad somebody would wish that they could be in your place right now? So that's why I try to take care of myself as best as I can, even though in the beginning of my pregnancy I was drinking, which I did not know about, because if I did, I wouldn't have. But it's such a blessing. And then the worst part of being pregnant, I don't think it's a bad thing of being pregnant. I think it's just, you know, the stuff you go through. So as far as me, I'm gonna talk to you guys about how this whole pregnancy thing started and my symptoms. As soon as I found out that I was pregnant, it's crazy because I feel like I was actually pregnant already when I was in New York. And now looking back at that moment, I was like, there's no way I could be pregnant. Like, I just had my period in October, you know? So I was like, how could I be pregnant right now? But you could be like 2 weeks pregnant. But then I sat there and I'm like, could you really feel you being 2 weeks pregnant? But I swear I feel like I was 2 weeks pregnant. When I was in New York, there was one night when everybody went out to go drink, and the night before I had drank. But the next day we went to, I think we went to the Hard Rock, and everybody was like, let's drink, let's turn up. And I was like my body was like, no girl, like you cannot drink. And I just remember sitting there, everybody ordering their drinks, and I was like, I can't drink it. I was like, I'm not even gonna drink. I was like, I'll just eat, guys. Like, sorry, I'm being lame right now. So everybody's like, what the hell? You know, so I didn't end up getting anything to drink. And I told Elisa, like, we need to go because I am exhausted. Like, I was exhausted to the point where I feel like if I would have been walking and I would have closed my eyes, I probably would have knocked out. Like, that's how tired I was. And I was like, why do I feel so tired? We went to the hotel. It was like 9 o'clock. Fell asleep, knocked out, didn't wake up till the next day till like 11, and I was dead asleep. Like, my body was like shutting down on me. I was like, something is wrong. I felt it. Like, I kind of felt it. And I told Elisa, I was like, do you think I could be pregnant? Elisa was like, you're dumb. He was like, you can't be pregnant, you know? So I was like, okay. So, and the reason he says you're dumb and you can't be pregnant is because I've had times when I'm like, I think I'm pregnant, and I was never pregnant, you know? So that's why he says things like that. But I was just like, okay, it was obviously too soon to even know. So I came back home, and, you know, a couple of weeks passed, and then I started having more symptoms. But the first trimester of symptoms started off as me being exhausted. I was tired every day. Like, I'm talking about exhaustion to the point where you are just sleeping all day. Like, you're like, I would come home and it would be like 7 and I'd take a nap and then I'd wake up. Like, I was napping, something that I don't ever do, and I was just napping for no reason. So then finally I found out that I was pregnant. Quickly after finding out, probably like a week after, I want to say about my 6th, 7th week of being pregnant, that's when I started developing my nauseousness, and I became very nauseous. I was throwing up at least twice a day. I got night vomits, I guess. It wasn't morning sickness. I didn't have any morning sickness. I had night sickness. So every time before bed, I would just fall asleep. I would just go to sleep and try to not think about it so I wouldn't throw up, because if I stayed up late trying to watch a movie, I would be yakking all night. So that was like the biggest probably like about it, because I hate throwing up, guys. Like, I hate it. I cried. Like, there was nights when I was like just there in the toilet and like with my little water bottle, and I'd be like guacareándome, and then I'd be crying like, why do I feel like this? Like, it was so sucky. And then on top of that, like, TMI, but your sex drive is absolutely garbage at this point. And I don't even think so much like I wasn't feeling it. It's just because I was throwing up at night. So it's like, you know, my husband leaves at 5 in the morning. Like, I'm not gonna have him wake up at 4 a.m. to bang me real quick and then like go to work, you know? Like, I was tired. So it's like, on top of being tired, you're throwing up, you feel nasty. You're like, why do I feel like this? You're throwing up. Like, my poor husband's like over here probably like, what the fuck did we do? Because I'm like, don't touch me, you know? And then your boobs are so sensitive. Like, my boobs still till this day are sensitive. Like, I'll touch them and then they'll be like itchy and they'll just hurt. And then my boobs, like, I felt like I had cute boobs like before, not even like standing up, because my boobs have always been a little heavier, so they're always a little bit more saggier than like your normal girl. You know, my boobs are natural, they're not fake, so they are droopy. But my nipple was always like a cute nipple. Like, I had a really light pinkish nipple, like small, like it's cute. I have fucking salami nipples now, okay? Like, my nipples are, like, if I could show you guys my nipples, I would show you guys my nipples, but I don't want to like, like my family watching my videos. But my nipples are so bad and they're dark. They're like, my brother, I was gonna say my brother, my sister says that I'm exaggerating, that they're not even that dark. But going from like a pretty like light pink to like a freaking brown, this isn't even brown, this is nude, but like a dark brown, I'm like, what is happening to my body? I'm like, what is happening? But yeah, that was one thing that I was like, oh my god, why do my boobs feel like this? Haven't got any stretch marks. I have a small belly, so I don't think the stretch marks happen until like later on in the pregnancy when the belly really gets big. But I'm not worried about stretch marks or like anything like that. If my body has to go through this, my body has to go through this. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, I don't want this to happen. Like, I'm creating a human, you know, like whatever has to happen is gonna happen. I think it's just like the nipple thing that's like really scary to look at, because it's just weird to me. And then after that, so we had boob sensitivity. I also had a lot of asco with like my smell. I could smell everything. Like, I have developed a freaking 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th sense. Like, I can smell everything, like everything. Like, seriously, my smell my smell is like a freaking wolf. And I was struggling a lot with like washing dishes, or like we would go grocery shopping and I would have to have Yvette or Releases like empty out the fridge of like old stuff so I can put the new stuff in there, because if I would smell it, I'd run straight to the bathroom to throw up. So yeah, those were like the basic symptoms. Other than that, I haven't had like any pain or anything like that. That doesn't happen, I think, until like around this time, like my 2nd trimester going to my 3rd. So those were like the main symptoms. And then now on why I have been MIA and why I decided to take a break for a couple of days or a week or so. So if you follow me on Twitter, you know that when I came back from Hawaii, I was put on bed rest. So when I came back from Hawaii, I was 18 weeks, I want to say. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to like talk about it, just because it's still kind of a touchy subject, and you know, God forbid, I still don't know, you know, what could happen in the future or anything. But this is one of the things that is stressful about pregnancy that people don't really talk about. And I already at 20 weeks am very emotionally attached to my baby, which is crazy because I never thought that this would happen. You know, I haven't even met my baby and I'm already like very, very attached to my baby. And this happened very early on, up from like 12 weeks. I was already like, oh, my baby, like I can't wait to buy this. Like, it's an excitement. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So when I came back from Hawaii, I had a little incident and I was at home. I was here. I was already like discharging. So when I'm gonna get really personal, guys. So just if you know, I feel like most of you guys are girls anyway, so you guys know what's going on. But when you're pregnant, you discharge more than often. So you discharge a lot, like very heavy. And I was discharging one night and I noticed that my discharge was getting kind of like brownish, pinkish. It wasn't too like super noticeable or anything, but I was like kind of concerned. I was like, that's weird, you know? I really didn't do much about it. I didn't say anything, didn't call my doctor or anything. I was like, maybe it's just normal with the discharge. So a couple days passed by and I was here at the house. I had told my sister, I was like, I've been feeling like cramping on my stomach. It was kind of like period like cramps, feeling pressure. And I told my sister, like, I don't think it's normal, you know? And she was like, I don't think it's normal either, because mind you, it doesn't help that I'm a first-time mom, and then my sisters both had amazing pregnancies where they didn't experience any symptoms. And then there's me, you know, the one that's over here experiencing everything. So she was like, I don't think it's normal. She's like, you should call your doctor. And I was like, well, I'm gonna wait it out. So I went to Denny's that day, came back home, and I was by myself. Yvette was with her mom. So I was just chilling at home, and then I go to the bathroom, and then when I'm in the bathroom, I pee, and then when I wiped, I noticed that there was like a lot of discharge, but this time there was blood on the toilet paper. So I kind of just like sat there like on the toilet, and I'm like looking down, and I'm just like seeing like kind of like drips of like, it wasn't red bloodshot, red blood. It was like pink. It was like kind of like blood and discharge mixed together, and it was just dropping, kind of like when you're about to start your period, you know, like those first little spots of when you're starting your period. So I went into panic mode. Like I was fucking like, I'm almost hyperventilating. I was like, what is going on? Oh my God, I don't think this is normal. Blanca, calm down. Oh my God. I was talking to my sister at the time when it was happening. Like I was texting her. So I text her and I was like, I'm bleeding. I was like, oh my God. And then she was like, are you okay? Like I scared her. She's like, are you fine? Are you by yourself? Are you like, do you want me to like go get you? Like what's going on, you know? And I was like, I think I'm fine. Like I was just trying to like calm myself down. She was like, Blanca, relax. She's like, it's probably normal. Relax, because you stressing out is only gonna make things worse. I was like literally dreading for the worst. Okay, so I call Elisa's, and I'm like, at this point I'm already like bawling. Okay, I'm already crying. I'm already like, oh my God, what's happening? So I call him, and he can hear it in my voice, like I'm like freaking out. And I was like, I need you to come and pick me up. I need to go to the emergency room. So he's cutting hair, you know, so he's like, I'm in the middle of my haircut. He was like, just give me a second, and I'll call you back right now. So I was like, okay. So, you know, I felt like nobody was really like panicking. So I was like, okay, I need to just chill, you know. Immediately I go to Google, and bad thing to do, you know, but Google actually made me feel a little bit better, because it says, you know, as long as it's not like heavy bleeding where you're like filling up a pad, you should be okay, you know. So I was like, okay, let me just relax, because I went to the toilet again, and then by the time I peed the second time, nothing was there anymore. So I was like, okay, so I'm not like bleeding a lot, let me just chill. But mind you, like I am the biggest freaking chicken. Like I have a baby inside of me that I'm already emotionally attached to. Like all I'm thinking about is like, is this really happening right now? Like, am I about to lose my baby, you know? I couldn't even imagine. Like I just sat there and thought to myself, like, what is gonna happen? Like I'm gonna be an emotional wreck. Like how am I gonna get through this? Like I just thought about like the worst. Okay, so Uli says, and then on top of that, okay, so on top of that, I was getting my car washed. So then I open the door, and then fucking Louis runs out. Okay, he runs out of the house, and he's like down the block. And at this point, like I'm telling you, I'm thinking about the worst case scenario. Okay, I sit here and I'm like, do I go save my dog? Do I save myself and my child? Like I was like really thinking like 50-50. Like I love Louis, okay, I fucking love my dog, but I just sat there and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to go chase him. I was like, I'm bleeding, like my dog ran away, like what am I supposed to do? I have nobody at home with me, you know. So I was gonna call my mom, because my mom lives 5 houses down, but I didn't want to worry her. So I was like, I'm not even gonna bother calling my mom right now. So then I called Lisa's, and I was like, the dog left, and I'm just gonna let him leave. I was like, I can't go after him. I was like, there's just no way that I'm gonna be able to chase him right now. And then Ulysses was like, oh my God. He was like, well, are you okay? He's like, I'm on my way, you know? So I was making fun of him. I was like, you were more worried about the dog running away than me, you know? I was like, you're over here trying to sprint to get back Louis. So then I was like, let me just get in my Jeep. So I got in my Jeep and then I drove around the block. Then Louis was like in the corner. He was already really far. And I sat there and I was just thinking, like, if I don't get my dog, I was like, well, Lisa's is gonna come home and I'm gonna have no dog, and then I'm gonna lose my baby. Like, I just sat there and I'm telling you, like, I was thinking of everything like the worst. I was like I can't lose both of my babies right now. I was like, I need to go find my dog, you know? So I ended up driving. I found Louis. He saw a car coming and he got scared, so he came towards me, so I was able to grab him. So at this point, I told Elisa, just wait at the barbershop. I'll drive to you just so it's faster and we get there. And then he was like, okay. So I'm like speeding to the freaking barbershop. He's only like 2 freeway things down, like 2 freeway stops down. So I'm like speeding all the way to his barbershop, and I have Louis with me, and I'm like ready to cry, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm panicking, I'm scared. I'm just thinking, like, I'm probably gonna go to the hospital and they're gonna be like, you're having a miscarriage, or we don't have a baby's heartbeat. Like I said, I was thinking about the worst case scenario. So I get to the hospital and they rushed me right in there. Like, I didn't even have to wait that long. As soon as I get in, they take my vitals, they take blood work, they make me do a urine test, and they do an ultrasound. So, you know, they have me in my robe, and then I go and get the ultrasound, and I lay down and I hear the baby's heartbeat, and I feel like God spoke to me, and he was like, it's okay, Blanca, you're gonna be fine, you know? So it was a very, very, very emotional day for me that day. And I heard the baby's heartbeat, and I just told the doctor, like, well, what's going on? Why am I bleeding? And then he said, you know, this is the thing. Like, I felt kind of like I was mad when I left the emergency room, because the lady that was there wasn't my real doctor. It's just the emergency room doctor. He was like, he gave me a paper of like prepping you for a miscarriage. Like, if you're having a miscarriage, there's nothing that we can do to stop it. So right now it's just like a waiting game, you know? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean it's a waiting game, you know? So they checked my cervix, they checked my placenta, they did everything in there, and my cervix was fully closed. There was no indentation. There was no there was no sign of like it opening or it ripping open or anything like that. They left the little thing that they stick up inside of you in there for a while to monitor my cervix to make sure it wasn't opening and closing, which is a sign that, you know, your baby's gonna come out. So everything looked fine, everything looked perfect. She's like, the guy's like, your ultrasound looks perfect, everything looks good, but at this point, let me just prep you for the worst case scenario. So I was like, okay. And then they had to give me a shot because I'm Rh negative. And if any of you guys are Rh negative, I have a rare blood type. My blood type is O negative, Rh negative. So my blood type, if I bleed or if I have anything like that in my pregnancy, it could affect my baby. So they gave me my shot just to make sure that everything's fine. So they gave me a shot and then sent me back home. So then I went back home and I didn't have any bleeding that night. Then the next day I bled again. And this time I took a picture of it and I was able to save it and send it to my doctor. My doctor was like, let me make you an appointment, a follow-up appointment for that Tuesday so I can see you. And then I was like, okay. So then I went to go see my doctor. So this was just a week ago. So I had the conversation with her and I was telling my sister and Elisa, I was like, maybe we should just cancel our gender reveal. I don't think that we should have it, because what if like something happens and, you know, we're gonna go and do all of this, and like, let me just kind of relax, you know? And he was like, no, he was like, we can't do that. He was like, just wait till you see the doctor. And the doctor was like, oh my God, sweetie, no, like, you need to enjoy your pregnancy. She was like, you know, stressing out about this is not gonna make anything like less likely to happen. She was like, your baby is fine, your cervix is fine, your placenta is fine. She was like, you're showing no signs of any type of you know, miscarriage or anything, you know? She's like, I don't even see you being a threatened miscarriage. And I was like, okay. But the ER doctor was the one that put me on bed rest. So he put me on bed rest for 3 days. So those were the 3 days in between from when I went to the ER to when I was going to see my real doctor. So they had me on bed rest for 3 days. My legs levitated up and I was basically not able to do anything besides go to the bathroom and come back and lay down. So my doctor was like, you're fine. She's like, sweetie, enjoy your pregnancy. Everything's gonna be okay. You know, you stressing. She's like, I don't want you to look back at this pregnancy and think like, what if I wouldn't have done that? I'm like say I wouldn't have done the gender reveal or anything like that. She's like, what if you would have done, you know, not done it, and then your baby's born, and then you're gonna think, why did I not enjoy my pregnancy and do all those fun, cute things that normal moms do on a daily basis, you know, with their kids. So I put myself in that situation. I was like, you know what, from this day forward, I need to just let God take hands with, you know, take control of everything in every situation. All I can do is just try my best to take care of myself and take care of my baby, and anything that's meant to happen is going to happen, and what's not meant to happen is not going to happen, you know. So at this point, this is kind of the stage that I'm at right now, because for those past couple of days, weeks, and even still to this day, like I've just been stressed. I've just been worrying. I go to the bathroom and I pee, and I'm like looking at my toilet to make sure that there's nothing there. Like it's scary. And you know, people don't talk about those things, you know, and it's a fear that a lot of first-time moms, second-time moms, three-time moms, like that they fear, you know. That's like the biggest fear of being pregnant, you know, you being pregnant for so many weeks and then something going wrong. But based on that little experience, I've learned to just kind of let things just work the way that they're supposed to be, because I have no control of anything that's going to happen. But it ended up being, so I jumped into my little speech. But when I went to go see my doctor, she said that my cervix looked irritated. So it looked like there was some irritation in there, which can cause bleeding. The cervix is fully closed, but the irritation can cause the spotting. And like I said, it wasn't full on like blood clots coming out. It was literally just like spotting with discharge. So she said that the discharge was building up and then it was bleeding out. So it turns out that a lot of pregnant women are more prone to like infections. So I had a yeast infection, and I didn't know that I had one because I had no symptoms. They say that when you have a yeast infection, you have like cottage cheesy discharge, and you're itchy and it's burning, and I didn't have any symptoms. So she said that it was a mild yeast infection, but it was enough to irritate my cervix because it's so sensitive. So then she put me on a 7-day treatment where I was basically like treating it with cream, and everything cleared up. I haven't had any spotting or anything like that. So I am glad that she was able to find a solution for where the bleeding was coming from, and I wasn't just here thinking like my cervix is opening and my baby's, you know. But like I said, I'm 20 weeks going on 21 weeks and still have 20 weeks to go. And at this point, everything is just in God's hands, and I'm just praying for a healthy and beautiful little baby boy to hopefully join us in July. But yeah, that was just my update. I feel like this video was super long, but now you guys know what's been happening. I am going to be doing these videos for my second trimester and then my third trimester, because I do want you guys, I love having you guys involved in everything. You guys always ask me. You guys just saw my gender reveal. If you haven't, I'll link it below. I love that I can share these moments with you guys. My delivery, best believe that I am going to have somebody in there recording, and you guys are going to meet my little bundle of joy in July. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If there's anything else that you guys had questions about that I didn't touch on, definitely leave me a comment below. But this is going to be the end of my video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys.